Hey everyone, it's Byron again to testify for Jesus Christ. Had a little incident right here that I want to go over. Something I've been thinking about for some time, and this incident brought it about. I was sitting here, I'm right in front of my computer. I got a little webcam right on top. I was sitting here looking at things from Revelation, all through Revelation. I've been listening to Revelation now for probably 3 weeks. Every time I stop, I turn Revelation on, listen to it. Got it on my phone, and that's what the incident was. I was sitting here at the computer. My phone was a good 15 feet over there, and my phone has been inactive for probably 4 hours. I would say maybe more. And then Revelation 22 started playing from 15 feet away. I don't know if there's a software glitch. It could be. It's the first time that I recall this ever happening before, but it brought me to what I want to label as the curse of Revelation. And this ties into false prophets and false teachers. I want to read from Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 and 19. And here's what it says. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book being the book of Revelation. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of this book, of this prophecy, God shall take away his part of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Very strong words. Now, I have talked a lot about pre-tribulation rapture, people that teach the pre-tribulation rapture. I can tell you that this teaching literally began by being called the pre-tribulation rapture theory. Now, my understanding of a theory is something that you believe that could possibly be so, but it is unproven. It can't be proved. Let's say that Charles Darwin has an evolution theory. He believes that, whatever all that he believes, but it seemed like life started in the water and came up on land and evolved and, all that stuff. It's a theory. It's a theory of evolution. The same thing is true for the pre-tribulation rapture. I can promise you this. There are words in Revelation that do say contrary to their theory. And there's nothing in Revelation that says positive toward the theory. And thus we get to Revelation 22:18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of this book, of this prophecy, God shall take away his part of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. We have a huge responsibility to be accurate with what we say. I know that every man can be at fault. The scripture tells us, trust no man, trust God only. I know that I am potentially susceptible to being at fault, and that's just part of what we each share together. But it gets real bad when you go and you listen to man to the point that you've listened and believed what man has taught you so much that you can't read the words that are right in front of you and understand them in the English format that they're written in. And therein lies the difference. We have to be very careful, very careful. We know, one, people have been taught wrong from the beginning. We know, two, there will be false prophets and false teachers, and they're cropping up like popcorn pops. I'm telling you, And they're running in unisons and in packs, just like the wolves that they are. We have to be very careful and fearful as of what we're saying. So that was an incident that occurred. My phone just started playing Revelation 22 when it came to this scripture. I felt a urgency that if this thing played by itself, I would at least need to mention this, because this has been on my mind for quite some time. I've been working on 3 or 4 other videos, and then suddenly this happened in the process of doing research and looking into things. So be careful what you say. Be careful that you are not following someone who was taught wrong, and be careful who you support, especially as it relates. I've had some people, on my channel defending false teachers that I expose. Even one was so bold as to say, well, I know how to deal with people like him, such as people like me. Well, you're going to have to know how to deal with Jesus Christ too, because Jesus Christ, through the Apostle Paul, stated that people should rebuke to Timothy. Exhort, rebuke, do all these things. And what has happened, and I was born into this, what has happened is there became a religious tolerance within what people call Christianity. And that means, well, if they have their little segregation over there, and they got their little congregation over there, and they call themselves the anthill whatevers, and we got ours over here, and we're the beehive whatevers, and we got all of Christianity so split up that each of us have our own little thing, then nobody should say anything about what we're teaching because we got our own little gang. And that's wrong. There is one God, and there's one Spirit. There's one baptism. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's and no scripture is subject to private interpretation. So I'm working on a video where this man named Charles Lawson stated the church is not mentioned from Revelation chapter 4 at the beginning, where John, there's an open door going into heaven, and John starts seeing stuff throughout the book of Revelation. I mean, he's your own tape saying, and the scripture talks about the saints. There will be war with the saints in Revelation chapter 13. And I know that's a whole nother video. I'll get there. Be careful what you're trying to take away from and add to, especially in the book of Revelation. All right. I'll see you.